Steelers fans have to feel like they ate a burger off the ground on Sunday watching their Steelers offense against the New England Patriots defense. It's still a game the Steelers could have won, but you got to muster something offensively. Here's Mike Tomlin, whose team has to turn it around pretty quickly for Thursday night's game against the Browns, on whether he's happy with the offensive play calling from coordinator Matt Canada.
I'm not happy with much of anything, man, when we just lost a game, but I'm also experienced enough to see the big picture that we are still very much in development. And so I'm going to exercise appropriate patience and continue to teach and ask the guys to continue to learn in an effort to continue to push this train down the track and get better. I think that if anyone is sitting here on Monday in week 2 of this thing feeling happy, they're probably wrong or misinformed.
I was fascinated by what he has on his neck. At first, I thought it was a pen because I love the move of having a pen on a cord because then you never have to go looking for a pen. It just looks like one of those things where it's like a lanyard thing, but there's nothing there. There's nothing. It's not hooked to anything.
Well, there must be something on the bottom. When we missing it there, maybe it's just.
It looks like it's just a snap. It looks like it's a hook. There's nothing there. I was mesmerized by that because I'm thinking I really do like the idea of wearing a pen around your neck. I'm going to start doing that. I think not just as a fashion statement, but so I always have a pen.
It might be.
I don't know.
The more we watch, it's a whistle too.
Oh,
That's
is it
what
a whistle?
I think. I think there
whistle.
you can see the little black part of the whistle at the very bottom below those silver pieces, but it didn't show up at all.
At first I thought it was a pen, then I thought it was just something that was just a clasp with nothing on it.
Well, I was starting
ready to put a pen, a whistle, I don't know.
I know, or it's like a pass with his name and face on it, just in case they didn't know who he was in the Steelers facility.
Yeah, but he took it off because it's like they don't need to know who I am. I don't need a credential to get into.
Still a coach,
building.
man.
I've
He
only
needs his
been
whistle.
Coming here since 2007. Okay, so. Look, he said he wants to exercise patience with Mitchell Trubisky. We'll hear from him in a moment. How much patience can you have when they are chanting Kenny, Kenny, Kenny in the stadium? Tomlin said that he didn't hear it because he's doing other things. At some point, you've got to hear it. The sound makes its way down to the field. How much patience do you think Mike Tomlin's going to have with Trubisky?
I think it'll be, I don't think it's going to be a rush to judgment here. He's never been one to be like that. That's the one thing I do respect about Mike Tomlin, realizing, hey, it's a long season. Things aren't always perfect early in the year. Everybody's trying to find their footing. Teams don't get to play a lot in the preseason anymore like we talk about so often. You don't know what to expect from the teams you're playing a little bit, so you're still gathering information there. So I think it's still, like he said, a growing process. Is it disappointing? Yes, it is. We brought up a lot of concerns in the preseason and lead up to week 1 about their football team and the thing that concerned us. I'll stand by what I said a little bit on Sunday Night Football. I think you heard what I said, Mike. I don't sit there and watch the game and go, oh, man, there's plays everywhere, and Mitchell Trubisky's missing them. Gosh, he's got to go. It's his fault. I don't. I see an offense that has no rhythm to it. Every time I do see a pass down or anything significant, it's always a one-on-one shot down the sideline. So I don't see a whole lot of imagination there. And then I think you couple that, Mike, with like what we talk about a ton here is their offensive line. It ain't worth a damn. It's not worth a damn. And we've seen in 2 weeks they can't open holes for a guy that's very talented in Najee Harris. And so I think that plays into it. And here's the third thing, Mike, that I think also plays into it. Also knowing Mitchell Trubisky been around the block. He's got a defensive head coach. He's probably preaching, hey, we got a pretty good defense. Don't turn over. We can win these games kind of ugly. That can lead to ugly offense, too, from the offensive coordinator and the quarterback. So I think there's a few factors at play here before I want to judge it too harshly on Mitch Trubisky.
Meanwhile, Matt Canada spoke yesterday about the fact that Trubisky doesn't have the freedom to change the play at the line of scrimmage.
Check to the 2-yard slam.
Well.
Yeah.
But there's got to be,
I hear you.
There's got to be some freedom. There's got to be some discretion to be exercised by the quarterback, or at a minimum, what we see other teams do, 2 plays called in the huddle.
Sure.
And the quarterback picks one based upon the look that he sees from the defense. At least that. It's not even that. He's got no discretion, no ability, no leeway to change the play at the line of scrimmage.
Well, I don't. This is where I didn't. I read this, but I didn't hear it, and I would like I have a hard time. I think there's been plays where he stands up and they do a second play. I'll say that, Mike, but I don't think he can just go off script to what you're saying here. I would be shocked. Every team in football is calling plays that, not every play, but you have, 10, 15, 20 plays a game where there's 2 plays called in the huddle. And, hey, if we get this look, we run the play we called in the huddle. If we don't get this look, hey, check, 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 or kill, kill, kill. You hear the quarterback say can, whatever. And that means go to the other play. But I don't think he has the discretion to just go, hey, coach, I kind of saw the will linebacker and the free safety blitz, and I just decided to, change the play altogether and max protect and, throw an out route to Deontay Johnson there. Yeah, you got to earn that in the NFL. So that's where I think, they're still in a process there. They're doing what kind of the coach calls in. I do think there's check with me's as far as those 2 plays are concerned, but he doesn't have the Ben Roethlisberger ability to just go, oh, wait, I want to change the protection. Hey, you do this, and now said Hut. That's definitely not there yet.
He did say yesterday he'd like to get into a different play at the line of scrimmage from time to time, but he doesn't have that ability yet. Canada said we're evolving to that. After you have a guy who's played 18 years, like Roethlisberger, and a guy who just got here with a bunch of young players, we're building toward that. Let's hear more from Trubisky about the urgency and the importance of getting the ball down the field in that Steelers offense.
It's there, and we had our opportunities. I think earlier I can take shots downfield. I think I could look for 14 more often. George, he's doing a great job for us, and I just got to get these playmakers the football, whether it's whatever route they're running. I just got to get them the ball. So it really comes down to me making better decisions, being aggressive, and putting ourselves in that position. I like to throw the ball down the field. Why I haven't, given the certain looks, especially early in the game, I can't tell you exactly why, but we're looking for that. I'm looking for that. I like to throw the ball down the field. I think every quarterback, deep down in the heart, likes to throw the ball as far as they can down the football field and watch their playmakers go up and get it. So we're looking for that, and we got to look for the right opportunity, right timing. And it's just having that aggressive mindset and coming down with those plays. So we want to throw the ball down the yard, but we got to be smart about it, and it's all about completing it.
I perk up every time I hear someone maker now. Product placement.
Playmaker.
Still available wherever your books are purchased, read, or whatever. But, hey, Pickens, the rookie, that got so much buzz during training camp in the preseason, he made a comment earlier this week about he's running free 90% of the time. So we're starting to see a little frustration. They've got a ton of weapons, dare I say playmakers, on that offense. At some point, it's got to click. And if it's not going to click with Mitchell Trubisky, even if it all comes down to the offensive line, Chris, if it doesn't click with Trubisky, it's going to click potentially or not with Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, well, you're right. I mean, we know the clock is ticking here, and if it continues to not look good, they will. I just don't think, I don't think Mike Tomlin's the kind of guy that's going to do it after week 3 or week 4 if they're sitting there at 2-2 or something like that. I don't think he's going to panic in that situation. I didn't watch the Patriots film yet, so I can't really speak to people flying wide open. But, man, we have a lot of different TVs going on in our game, and I certainly was paying pretty close attention to that football game. I never got the sense watching replays that George Pickens was running open 90% of the time. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a little more open than I thought, and if it is, I'll correct it. The stinky part is, no run game. Okay, yes. Offense looks, a little not creative, unimaginative, and it stinks because these 3 receivers are freaky. But I think what also comes into play here with the New England Patriots and the Cincinnati Bengals, they play teams like Pittsburgh and go, wait. They're not going to be able to run the ball on us. One of the only ways they're going to beat us is shots down the field with these receivers. And I think teams play, coverages and the corners play off knowing that, wow, these are some special guys that can turn the game in one play. But, they got to find a way to get them involved more. There's no question about that. I mean, when you go into a game against the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick starts to tell you that Chase Claypool's awesome and that even when he's covered, he's not covered, and it's like Gronk, he's telling you what kind of a special player he thinks he is. So I think that says something there too. But we've seen this the last few years where I know we've had the Ben check at the line of scrimmage thing, but too much of us talking about how come they can't get Claypool the ball enough? How come they can't get Deontay Johnson the ball enough? And that's where you start to go, wait, okay, I know the quarterbacks haven't been great, but maybe the OC and company there need to pick up their end of the bargain here as well.
And it is going to lead to frustration, not just outside the building, inside the building, among those receivers if they're not getting the football. And look, you know how it goes, Chris. Every receiver's running free 90% of the time if you ask him. Right. But you got to get the ball. If you get the ball a few times during the game and you're able to go do your thing, you don't think about all the other times that you were convinced you were open and you didn't get the ball.
Very true.
It's a delicate balance. Even if you have Dan Marino as the quarterback of that team, it's a delicate balance between Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, and Najee Harris, because there's still only one ball. That's where it becomes a challenge. But if you're not getting the ball to any of them sufficiently enough, it all runs the risk of imploding. And I can't help but wonder.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned Belichick's comments last week about Claypool. I can't help but wonder whether he's just trying to stir up some trouble a little bit.
All right.
Because we've heard flashes of things from Claypool. He said at one point in the offseason he's one of the best 3 receivers in the league. He's got a contract that's going to be due for renegotiation after this season. I don't think they can pay all these guys, especially if you can't get the ball to them. What the hell? You can't justify paying Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool and save some for George Pickens and Pat Freiermuth. You can't do it. I just wonder at some level whether there wasn't some deliberate impishness from Bill Belichick to just get Chase Claypool riled up a little bit and get him complaining a little bit more behind the scenes about his lack of involvement by creating the urgency. Hey, even Bill Belichick sees it.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Time.
Yeah.
He sees it,
yeah.
And these dumbasses can't get me the ball. I mean, I could see Claypool thinking that at some level.
Yeah, I hear you there. I mean, Bill is, of course, the most tactical person I think we've ever seen in football, so I wouldn't be surprised. The other thought that went through my head was just he's laying down the groundwork for the other part of the process that you talked about, right? Where it is could be the last year he's there in Pittsburgh, and he's buttering him up to go like, hey, I see how good you are here. Come here, right? We've seen Bill do that before too, so it could go either way in that discussion. But I think the point you make, these are some personalities here, and Claypool and Deontay Johnson, I think, are at a point in their career where if they don't, Deontay Johnson might be a little bit more quiet about the situation because he got paid, but if it continues to look like this another few weeks down the road, you're going to start to hear these guys spout off or show frustration, and that is going to be an annoyance to the football team and the overall goal of what they're trying to accomplish.
The coach who has the ultimate blind spot when it comes to drafting and developing young receivers loves those Steelers receivers. He had Antonio Brown briefly.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't long enough to even register. And remember years ago when Emmanuel Sanders became a restricted free agent,
right?
They signed him to an offer sheet.
Yes.
And it was a 1-year offer sheet. The thinking was, I remember somebody telling me, look, here's what they're doing. They're signing him to the offer sheet. It's 1 year. The Steelers match it. Then next year they'll sign him as a free agent. But they didn't. That's when he ended up in Denver by way of Kansas City the following year. But they wanted Emmanuel Sanders, and they got Antonio Brown. And it sounds like there's a little window shopping going on by Bill Belichick with Chase Claypool. And if they don't get Claypool more involved, Claypool at some point is going to notice that Bill's out there with his hoodie up, trying to be deliberately inconspicuous, and it's not working by design.
Yeah, and I don't doubt that. I don't. And Bill, as much as we maybe talk about his eye or lack of eye for getting a receiver out of college, he knows when he sees him in the NFL how to get him and go, wait, this guy's good. He can be infused into our program, and it seems to work that way. And let's not forget with this Steelers offense conversation too, they played 2 pretty good defenses. It's not like they were playing teams where we looked at it and said, well, they should just steamroll these teams. No, I mean, I never was in an illusion or state of an illusion to think that, they're going to go up and down the field on the Bengals, and who did a good job, and the Bengals played good defense last week against the Cowboys once again. It's the offensive problem. And then, the low-scoring game last week, I don't think that shocked either one of us. When we did our picks pod last week and all that, I don't think that was shocking. It's a really good Patriots defense that has the ability to stop the run without having to put too many people in the box to stop it. They got enough big people, so that allows them to be safe on the back end and not let up the big play. And, of course, it's not going to be any easier tomorrow night either. We'll see. But yeah, I think there's, a lot of things in play here. To me, the biggest problem with the football team is the fact that, Najee Harris is averaging 1 point something yards per carry, basically. I know it's probably a little bit more than that, but man, game 1, game 2, there's not a hole to speak of. Pass protection as well. Like, you talk about get the ball down the field. You playing quarterback for that football team can't have a state of mind to go, well, I'll hold the ball and let me pat the ball one more time and take another hitch step because that's going to come open. No, you do that, you're going to get your head torn off most likely. So there's a lot of things here, and I know we always want to talk about the quarterback, but I don't think it's time yet to start talking, Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky. Not yet, at least.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.